To Mr. Fulliger and the college leadership team, to the parents gathered here in the hall today to see their sons presented, to the Nudgee staff, to everyone watching online this morning, including our year 5 and 6 gentlemen back in the classrooms with year 5s about to start NAP plan very shortly, and most importantly, to all the boys here in the hall today. Welcome to this week's College Assembly, one which has an academic focus. Of course, every time we gather as a Catholic and Christian community, and to lead us in prayer to start proceedings today, let's welcome Mr. Murrah.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. Thank you, everyone. Just 6 days ago in this hall, we gathered to remember the life of Blessed Edmund Rice. Blessed Edmund had a very clear and passionate vision to help bring the light of Christ into the world through education. He knew that education brings freedom because it enables people to embrace all options available to them. No one is bound. No one is born restricted, depleted, or without freedom. But many situations and circumstances in life cut off certain options and make certain decisions unavailable. The greatest antidote to that is an education, because an education leaves doors open and leaves pathways uncluttered and gives us choices in life, and those choices give us freedom. That freedom is one of God's greatest blessings in our life. And true freedom enables us to hear God's voice, to see God in the life of his Son Jesus, and to see Jesus in the faces of those whom we choose to love. And today we gather to celebrate excellence in education in our Year 12s and in many of us across the school who have excelled in our learning. Our education, though, does not exist to get us a great job, or to make us rich, or to give us influence for good over people. Although it can, and those things too are great gifts. It exists solely to give us options, so that we can choose our own path. We can choose our own destiny. We can choose to love God, to love each other, and to love ourselves. Anything and everything else is simply built on that. So let us give thanks for Blessed Edmund Rice again today. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. O God, we thank you for the life of Blessed Edmund Rice. He opened his heart to Christ, present in those oppressed by poverty and injustice. May we follow his example of faith and generosity. Grant us the courage and compassion of Blessed Edmund Rice as we seek to live lives of love and service. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Live Jesus in our hearts. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, parents and friends here or online, to Nudgee staff, also to Nudgee gentlemen both here and online. It's a very good morning to you. My name is Harry Coventry. Sorry, that was a student in my Year 12 class who impersonated me at Showcase last week. Harry, are you out there somewhere? Not sure if you're out there. There you are. Thank you, Harry. You did a great job. I look much younger when you play my character. I think there might be a picture, if the slide comes up, of Harry there. Perhaps not. Perhaps one more along, please. That's it, Harry, resplendent. Well done. Thank you. But look, amongst the humour and the fun and the singing and the dancing, the message that the Duggan boys sung about was whatever it takes. And I think that message is sound and it relates to our Learning Habits Awards today. So I think today I want to think about, for staff and for the boys, what does it take to receive a Learning Habit Award? By the numbers, pretty simple. It means that your learning habits over the last 2 terms, except for those Year 5 boys, of course, it means that in your year group and in your house, you rated higher than anyone else. And those recipients today express that for us. But it also means that you've been rated as outstanding across 4 categories in that 5-point scale: outstanding, good, satisfactory, requires improvement, and unsatisfactory. Most of you all of you should have received your report at the end of last term, letting you know where you were on that scale. And that's the first point of reflection for you today. But behind the figures, what do you need to do today and then every other day to practice those habits of mind that'll see you being outstanding and ultimately succeeding in your studies? So in a very similar way to our learning habits, the habits of mind ask us to work from novice, that means a beginner, through to an apprentice, that's a learner, and to where most of you are, which is a practitioner or a doer, doing those things most of the time and doing them pretty well. But where they would like you to attain is that expert level. And the people you'll see presented today are at that expert level, and we'll look at what that means. They've got a growth mindset. They look to improve and to keep on track every day. So let's just look at those categories quickly. And there is a slide of the habits of mind, please, if you could put that up. The first one is classroom application and participation. Outstanding is not just turning up and doing what you're asked to do. Habits of mind tell us that we need to understand with empathy and think about my thinking. But what does that mean? It means that if I'm to be outstanding, I can retell another person's ideas. I can pose questions to my peers and to teachers. I can express interest in a topic or in other people's ideas. That's what that means. The second one's organisation for class. It's more than just bringing the right equipment. Being outstanding is goal setting, using habits of mind like managing impulsivity and thinking flexibly. That means being clear about my expectations. What am I going to do today in class? Have I planned steps to make sure that happens? Have I monitored the progress? Can I adjust? That's being outstanding. The third one is classroom behaviour. Outstanding isn't avoiding a detention on a Friday afternoon. What that is remaining open to continuous learning and also finding humour. It asks each of you to deal with the unexpected, to react maturely, to be a humble learner, to avoid pride, especially when we make a mistake, and also to resist complacency. The last one is our study habits and homework. And beyond, I've just got to do this by next Tuesday or there's the due date coming up, our habits of mind tell us to persist when the task gets hard and also to strive for accuracy and do what is our best rather than what we just have to do. So those things, to me, are outstanding ways that you can represent yourself in the classroom that align with our habits of mind. So I think being outstanding is something that we have to ponder a little further. Teachers, I think we need to give truthful feedback about what is outstanding, understand what that truly is. And boys, you need to start thinking about how you receive that feedback. What does it mean to you? Do you care? And where might it take you? Evidence tells us that things like receiving feedback and gaining an estimate about how we're going can be really helpful for you. So I would look at those learning habits and I'd think about them more closely. So today, boys, is a showcase of a slightly different kind. These boys are showcasing that no matter your grades, no matter your year group, and no matter your house, whatever it takes is achievable and that it's up to you. I'd like to call Mr. Fulliger forward, please, to present the boys their Learning Habits Awards, and also I call to get forward Mr. Corley, the Director of Junior School, to read out the Year 5 and 6 names.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, members of the college leadership team, parents, special guests, and of course, gentlemen of Nudgee. It's my pleasure to introduce our Year 5 Learning Habits Awards. If we could keep our applause to the end. Charlie Conway, Ethan Dull, Jordan Irvine, Ethan Joannis, Harrison Luke, Aidan Maguire, Liam Mawson, Jersey McMahon, Rory Nyholt, Ashley Overs, Neelay Shirolka, and absent today, Liam Walker. Can we please congratulate our Year 5 winners? Year 6, Aidan Barlow, Sydney Bates, William Bayo, German Buller, Harper Cameron, Daniel Carey, Rocco Crocamp, Zion Filmer, Thomas Gibb, Kai Istra, Shuhan Lasan, Harrison Serini, and Harry Williams. Can we please congratulate our Year 6 award winners? I now invite Mr. Pat Conway, Head of Faculty of Science, to present Year 7, 8 and 9.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, special guests, parents, staff and men of Nudgee. It is my privilege to present the Learning Habit Awards to students in Year 7, 8 and 9. In Year 7, the award recipients are Ethan Andrews, Ethan Cockburn, Lachlan Cook, Andrew Emery, Edward Jerry, Roman Jones, Tom Cooley, Jai Mott, Elfie Piper, Kai West, and Baxter Witteveen. Can we please congratulate our Year 7 award recipients? In Year 8, the award recipients are Tajaz Ashok, who is absent today, Xander Holmes, Sejin Lee, Tanush Patel, Ash Taylor, Mitchell Vivas, who is absent, Riley Weaver, Paddy Williams, Michael Williams, and Fergus Wright. Can we please congratulate our Year 8 award recipients? And finally, in Year 9, the award recipients are Samuel Brown, Ned Curran, George Gillam, Will Cooley, who is away, Michael Malone, Dominic Oswald, Nicholas Pedritis, Dusty Piper, Oscar Rawadi, and Avnish Sidhu. Can we please congratulate our Year 9 award recipients? I would now like to welcome Miss Alison Kilgore, the Head of Faculty of the Arts, to the stage.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, special guests, parents and staff, and men of Nudgee. It is my privilege to present the Learning Habits Awards to the students in Years 10, 11 and 12. In Year 10, the award recipients are Ryan Brown, William Duffield, Jacob Gillam, Oliver Johnston, Mackenzie Jones, Oliver Keel, Patrick Kennedy, William Mason, who is absent, and Anthony Minio. Can we please congratulate our Year 10 award recipients? In Year 11, the award recipients are Lachlan Bancroft, Lachlan Barrett, Alicio Bianchi, Thomas Canellan, Thomas Malone, Caleb O'Mealy, Yashadan Rani, Harry Rawati, Bailey Thomas, and Archie Wallace. Can we please congratulate our Year 11 award recipients? In Year 12, the award recipients are Kane Day, Darcy Dunstan, Douglas Gemmell, Atticus Johnson, Nicole Lawani, Lockie McGarry, Ian Pantaleon, Xavier Rawati, and Simon Vollett. Can we please congratulate our Year 12 award recipients and all students who have received Learning Habits Awards today. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, staff, students, and special guests. In the past, you've heard Mr. Sepetos and other members of the Nudgee learning and teaching team talk about persistence, making every lesson count, and lifelong learning. In fact, we've heard this morning. You'll notice that the symbol, hopefully, which will come up shortly, of our star with the second point highlighted represents the value of lifelong learning at Nudgee College. Today we celebrate the achievements of a group of Year 12 students who are demonstrating these values, and in fact most of the group that you've just seen actually received Learning Habits Awards. Consequently, their results are the best of the best at this college. The group of gentlemen have scored in the top 10 percentile in 4 or more of their general subjects. This means effectively that they've beaten 90% of students in their year in the majority of their subjects. This is an amazing achievement indeed. To recognise and reward students who perform at this level, Learning and Teaching introduced the Academic First program for the first time last year. The program has already begun for this year, and students have enjoyed lunch with representatives of the major Queensland universities to discuss scholarship opportunities for next year and beyond. There will be additional benefits, including honour pockets and career events to come for these gentlemen. Today, they will also receive a tie pin, including this star, to symbolise their achievement. We hope that they wear this with pride. There are others out there who were very close to meeting the criteria. Congratulations on your achievements so far. I would encourage you to keep persisting and working hard. Eligibility will be reassessed after results have been finalised for the next internal assessment tasks. To our younger students watching, know that these gentlemen were where you are now not so very long ago. They made a conscious decision to give their learning their priority. They certainly have natural ability, but none of us are blessed or born with knowledge about science, design, chemistry, art, and all of the other disciplines we learn at this college. Nor do we inherently know how to write an analytical essay, feasibility study, scientific report, or how to perform a musical piece. These students had to work hard, practice skills, and demonstrate incredible persistence and dedication for their results. No doubt they had bad days and disappointments, and as Mr. Sepetos was speaking about previously, feedback to receive along the way. They were sometimes bored, tired, and frustrated. They managed to overcome these obstacles, though, in a spectacular way. They will continue to learn and develop their skills as they have established the priority for lifelong learning, and this behaviour will ensure their success. I've spoken to many of them about their plans for the future, and the options they have are incredibly exciting. This is a lesson for all of us. Imagine what we could achieve together as a college and as a community if we all made every single lesson count every day. Thank you, gentlemen, for showing us the way. I would like to invite Mr. Fulliger and Mr. Sepetos to the stage to congratulate these students. If you could please hold your applause until the end. Gabrielle Allen. Rowan Astbury. Logan Azzopardi. Jessie Dando. Kane Day. Lachlan Doherty. Mitchell Doyle. Leo Fairley. Joshua Ferns. Jack Fuller. Matthew Johns. Yeah, we'll get one more. Atticus Johnston. Can we please congratulate our first group of academic firsts? Next we have Nikhil Lalwani. Dylan Lawrence. Lachlan McGarry. Spencer McLeod. Oliver Misso, Ian Pantaleon, Ethan Petkos, and absent today, but Joseph Piccone, Xavier Awati, Samuel Rogers, Harrison Smythe, Zachary Smullen, Declan Townsend, and Simon Vollett. Please congratulate our academic firsts.
Good morning, Mr. Fulliger, special guests, teachers, and young gentlemen of Nudgee. Some of you may have guessed why I'm up here. It's not written up behind me. I was going to say mainly because it's written on the screen behind me, but it's not written behind me. But I've come with an opportunity. I've come with an opportunity for you guys. We've been talking about excellence. We've been talking about outstanding performances, and these outstanding performances need to be practiced, and I've got something you can practice it with. Yes, it's time to start sharpening the 2B pencils because we're now taking entries for the most exciting competition of the year. Yes, the Australian Mathematics Competition. Yes, deserves an applause, yeah. It's the largest single event in the Australasian calendar. Educational calendar, I should say. And the good news is that you can all enter, and we'll be holding it right here in this room on Thursday, the 5th of August. Exciting, isn't it? Now, all of you who have received an academic medal or aspire to achieve one should test their mettle in this competition. See what I've done there? Medals are made from metal, but metal in this context means heart. It's clever, isn't it? Different words, but they sound the same. The English language is complex, but maths isn't, because with maths, when you write, you're right. Isn't that right? Now, the main benefit of attempting this competition is that it'll help you practice your problem-solving skills. And gentlemen, the future... But wait for it, fellas. The future belongs to problem solvers. What is that I hear you ask? How do you enter? Easy. Ask your parents. Just wait for it. Ask your parents, guardian or generous benefactor to go to the Nudgee portal and enter your details and pay $6.50. Yes, that is correct. For an hour and 15 minutes of quality entertainment, only $6.50. Gentlemen, I expect to see you all here after that rounding applause there. So, any further questions, talk to your maths teacher about it. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'd have to say that's a hard act to follow. Good job, Mr. Masters. Really engaged them there. Speaking as someone who's pretty ordinary at maths, I was never nominating for the Australian Maths Competition, that's for sure. Folks, ladies... Okay. We'll hold the applause to appropriate times now. Parents, thank you for joining us. I know there's some grandparents amongst you as well. For those who are at home online, to the boys in Year 5 and Year 6, although Year 5s might have flicked over into NAPLAN territory by now, I'm not sure, to staff and, of course, men of Nudgee. Morning, men. Gentlemen, it's been a good assembly. I know there's been a number of presentations, and the focus has been an academic one, as it should be. And when we talk about academics, we're talking about learning and skills. And academic doesn't just revolve around maths and English. It's those things you learn in practical subjects as well. Things you learn in the workshop are about learning and skills, equally as maths is, as science is, as English is. So when we talk about learning habits, please don't think, well, because I'm not strong at English or maths, I can't be a boy who achieves a learning habit award. It doesn't just pertain to those purely academic subjects, if we want to call them that. It is an award that every one of you has a possibility of achieving. I thank Miss Tyrrell for her words, Miss Lyons for her words today, exhorting you, I suppose, to achieve. It's open to everybody. Can I particularly acknowledge the academic first? We particularly use the word firsts because we know what that represents in our community here when someone is selected in a first team. We're really trying to say the pinnacles there of learning and teaching, of learning and skills, of academics is making that first team. So just as we aspire as a young sportsman to reach our first team, so we should be aspiring as students to ultimately in Year 12 to be one of those boys who's presented as a member of the academic first. It holds that prestige in the school, and we hope in its second year it will build on the foundations of last year, and over time it will really become something that little boys in 5 and 6 and 7 will really, by the time they get through to the school, hold very, very dear to their hearts, as they should. Can I wish all the boys in Year 5, 7 and 9, 7 and 9s are here with us, who are undertaking NAPLAN over the coming days, this week and next, NAPLAN online. We wish you well for that important test. Likewise, Year 11s who are into assessment at this point in time. The whole routine of assessment in senior schooling has changed. The rhythm of doing things at the end of term are different. So I know 11s, there is some deal of pressure around deadlines and assessments that are on at the moment. So boys, having said all that, in a busy term, and we're reaching mid-term, here we are in week 4 of a 9-week term, we're coming to what is that mid-term, and there's been a lot of things on. We referred to some of those already today, but there are plenty of things ahead. This week there's a process being held in the background of school life somewhat, and it's called the EREA School Renewal. Now, why is it important? It's important for a couple of reasons. It's about answering a question. It's ultimately about being accountable. Me as principal, the leadership team in their roles, those people who have leadership roles across the school, teachers particularly, being held to account to say, are we authentically a Catholic school in the Edmund Rice tradition? Now, Mr. Murray does a terrific job on assemblies, as he did on the Edmund Rice Feast Day Mass. But our identity as a Catholic school in the Edmund Rice tradition is not his alone. It's one that's a shared responsibility. It's one that you share with me, that I share with staff, they share with you, with parents as well. So we talk about authenticity being one of the values at the school. So can we truly say we are who we say we are when we claim to be a Catholic school in the Edmund Rice tradition? We light a candle, we pray on assembly. That's one thing, but very small in essence. Is it really lived at this school that we are a Catholic school in the Edmund Rice tradition? And I'll talk about our benchmarks for those in a moment. The second thing they're looking for is ways that we can improve. They'll write a report that they will give to me ultimately and the leadership team that will be shared in various forums subsequently about how we, and that's the collective we as a school, can improve over the next 5 years. This process happens only once every 5 years. They should have been here last year. They didn't because of COVID, but they're here this week. So what are they looking at when we talk about being a Catholic school in the Edmund Rice tradition? And I ask you to put up the slide there, which is headed The Charter and Touchstones. Most of you will have heard of that language, the touchstones, and those four touchstones: liberating education, gospel and spirituality, inclusive community, justice and solidarity. Boys, you don't need to be able to define them in any particular way or really deeply understand them in a theoretical sense so that you could be quoted, what does that mean? But it must be that we try to live that Nudgee lives those four values, if we called them that. We live those four touchstones in this school at big days, like the Edmund Rice Feast Day last week, but in simple ways around the school as well. Is it true that we are living up to those expectations? One of the ways that this panel or this review was finding information, they don't just ask the principal, because I'm going to tell them what a great school Nudgee is, and I'll give them all the spiel about how good things are at Nudgee. They would expect that. But they really wanted to know, well, what did you think? And you are the boys. So you might recall towards the end of last term, Mr. Todd led a survey. It was towards the end of term one Friday morning in SF. 1,200 boys, and we're the first school to have done this survey. They asked me to do a few hundred. I talked to Mr. Todd and we said we can do better than 300 or a few hundred at the school. We're trying to do everybody who's been at this school since or was here last year. So 1,200 boys responded to that survey, and I thank you for the way that you entered into that survey, boys. And the data that came back is very, very informative for people on the leadership team, for people in leadership roles around the school. It really is an affirmation for what we do as a school, I believe. Overwhelmingly, the response was positive, boys. In saying that, not everybody universally agreed that 100% in answer to every question. That would be unrealistic to expect. But you can see there's some questions, if we bring up the next slide, please, of the survey. Within that survey, you were given rarely, never, rarely, sometimes, up to always was the fifth answer. And on the slides there, you were asked the question, boys, every one of you, how would you describe the relationships within this school? And one of the criteria, and I haven't put them all up, but there's one, was respected. So do you feel respected? Do you think respect is part of this community? 96% of you boys said either always, often, or sometimes respect is part of this community. That's overwhelmingly positive. As is the next one. I've chosen a range of areas of school life. In this school, I feel that I am safe and I belong. Now, safety is critical to our care of you as a school. It's important to us. So to have 95% of you tell us that you always, often, or sometimes feel safe, and again, the sometimes was relatively small in comparison to always and often, was extraordinary. We hear something though in the fact that not everybody can tick every one of those three boxes. That for some boys it's only a rare experience. For some boys even, it's never. So that's something for me to reflect, for the teachers to reflect, but also other boys to reflect on. How could anyone come to Nudgee on a particular day and not feel safe? How could anyone come to Nudgee and not feel they belong? Messages are constantly about that. So it's something in their experience every day, something that happens around the school that causes boys to feel that way. So we need to work on that, an area for improvement. If we go to the next slide, and the last two areas of samples of questions, this one goes to learning. My learning experience inspire me because they are challenging. So our teachers will challenge you. One of the criteria was fun. It was interesting. One of those criteria in that question was fun. We were quite low on fun in classrooms. Not too sure how you want to reflect on that. It didn't trouble me one little bit. I'd rather that we got challenging very, very strongly from your voices. Your teachers are challenging you rather than teachers are just making it fun. Yes, we enjoy school. We enjoy this place. We have lots of fun activities, but class can't always be fun, boys. We understand that. And finally, a topic there. My teachers share the story and teachings of Jesus. 90% of you, again, tick those boxes. So again, overwhelmingly positive about where we are as a school, and I thank you for your contribution to it. So what will happen over the next couple of days, if we skip to the next slide, so there's going to be a panel of 4 people here over Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. You don't need to be troubled by them. They're not running around in high-vis vests or anything. If you see people you've never met before, just make them feel welcome. Be what Nudgee boys do, which is always welcoming and helpful. They're going to interview staff, they're going to interview students, and they'll interview parents. If you're one of those boys, and Mr. Todd's probably already connected to you, you know you've been asked to be involved in those interviews. What do you have to be? All you have to be is yourself, gentlemen, in that situation, if you get that opportunity to speak, and look forward to it. And at some stage, I think Wednesday morning, they're going to make a visit around to some classrooms as well. Not a trouble there. Our usual high expectations will be in place, obviously. So that's a bit of a summary. We'll eventually get a report which will help guide us where we're going as a school, and hopefully that's into a very prosperous and bright and productive future. So Having said all that, boys, just by way of conclusion, we're halfway through the term, as I've mentioned in my introduction. There's a lot ahead over the coming weeks. Day-to-day of school life, the co-curricular life, the school musical, all those things. One thing that will be featured next week on Assembly, and I'll give you early advice, is Open Day on the 22nd. We've already got a record number of registrations of people who want to come and see Nudgee on that day. Many of you can recall the day you came to Nudgee as perhaps a much littler boy than you are today, when you came to that Open Day, how you met a Nudgee boy on that day, how you came and visited that school on that day. And something in that experience happened for you and your parents that brought you to make that decision that, yes, Nudgee is the school for me. There's lots of schools your parents and you could choose to come to. But if you made that choice because you had a great experience of Open Day, I'd suggest to you, if you're involved in Open Day, many of you will be, it's really important, whatever about the buildings and the ovals and things, the most important interaction that will happen on that day for any prospective family or any prospective boy is the conversation he has with you. A Nudgee boy in his blue blazer, a Nudgee boy in his sports uniform, a parent asking for a direction on an Open Day and wanting to know where to go, or I feel a little bit lost, and you stepping into that space. That speaks to what the school is. That speaks to about the school as a Catholic school in the Edmund Rice tradition, and it speaks to being a school that other families will want to come to in the future. So I'm looking forward to Open Day. It'll be a terrific day. Enjoy the day today, boys, as well. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Fulligan. Nudgee men, so much to be proud of about who we are, but also so much work to do as well in continuing to get better. Thank you to Mr. Masters for adding a bit of colour to today's college assembly. Boys, apart from being a great leader in maths, Mr. Masters has a stand-up act on a Saturday night at the Comedy Club. You can check it out. Gentlemen, a number of well-dones to start this week. Congratulations to the many students who represented us last week in Rockhampton for Beef Week 2021. You were absolutely outstanding. I know we will hear from you next week, but I wanted to recognise those boys straight away. They were joined by many staff. I particularly recognise Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Woodcroft, who led our show team in Rockhampton. And gentlemen, on the back of that, the real outcome of that is obviously you've impressed people in that space, and the name of Nudgee is on people's lips, and what that translates to is a number of students coming to Nudgee in future years. So well done to our gentlemen on the Cattle Club. Well done. Gents, a personal reflection. In the last 2 weeks, I have been asked to choose a group of boys. Perhaps they are boys being interviewed for school renewal. Perhaps they have been boys that we have had to take along to the funeral of an old boy to represent the college. Perhaps they have been boys who will end up, based on your votes and staff votes, end up in the year 8, 9 and 10 leadership groups, which are going to be announced at the end of this week. Gentlemen, perhaps they are boys who are going to form a group who are going to meet with myself, Mr. Corley and Mr. Denning and McEwen from our buses to give us feedback a couple of times a term about how our buses are going and what's going on the buses that we need to be aware of. Or gentlemen, perhaps, as Mr. Fulliger just mentioned, choosing some boys for Open Day. And that job is made so easy because of the amount of outstanding boys we have who continue to want to represent us with pride. They love their school, they have high standards. So thank you for making that job very easy. And I know that I'll be in contact with many of you over the next week about all of those different things. Stay tuned for a possible email from Mr. Todd. It's not a bad one. Gentlemen, the week ahead now. Year 5, 7 and 9. Obviously, it's a very important time for you with your NAPLAN testing that is going to be underway across the next 2 weeks, and particularly with the focus on this week. Year 11s, you have your exams next week, and I know that you are tuned into that. Gentlemen, what that means for the rest of us, just a simple slide is going to go up in a moment, and the details on it aren't that important, but this is just an example of a slide that is in the student notices today that is a room change because of NAPLAN or the Year 11 tests. So boys, please focus on our student notices over the next 2 weeks particularly, because many of your subjects will have a room change because of that. Gents, next week we'll hear about who's in our cross-country team. We look forward to that. In terms of who is going to GPS cross-country, a number of Year 11 boys again will be chosen to help lead the cheer squad out there, and then there'll be a limited number of spaces for boys to sign up to go out there. If you've got an interest in that, if you've got a close mate running, a small number of boys will be able to head out and cheer on Nudgee there, and we look forward to that. Gents, today and tomorrow you will see a marquee go up in the Edmund Rice Mall right next to the Jewig building. Gentlemen, Nudgee uses marquees quite a lot, so we have made the decision to purchase a marquee, and so in coming years you'll see that go up a little bit more often. That is going up across today and tomorrow, and then of course that is going to be absolutely critical for our open day that Sir mentioned on Saturday week. But obviously we need to stay clear of that marquee as it goes up. Gents, on Friday, if you've got a hard copy of the calendar, it said this Friday there is a free dress day, and that is actually incorrect. Don't worry, we'll still be having one. So on Friday week, we'll be having that the day before Open Day and the day before Terrace Day for this round of GPS sports. So gentlemen, the key thing about that is it is for our house charity. And we always ask boys to bring in at least a $2 coin to support their house charity, but I know it is common in this one that because of the nature of that day, boys certainly bring in more than a $2 coin, because the money that we are raising is always for a special cause, but this time it is extra special. And I know Nudgee being Nudgee, we've somewhat turned that into a competition amongst houses. Gents, our house assembly venues on the screen very quickly behind me. We take note of that. Our academic firsts, well done boys, and we want to recognise you through various social media opportunities. So all academic firsts to please meet outside in the Undercroft area of this conference centre, academic first outside straight after this for a photo. Gents, to finish today, before three cheers and the college song, I acknowledged last Wednesday night the work of Raoul Carmody and the AV crew. Gentlemen, Raoul and his crew work around the clock to provide absolutely amazing support to the events that we have here at Nudgee. So out of the student office last week, for example, we hosted the mother and son lunch on Sunday, which was a huge event, and then we had the inter-house showcase on Wednesday night. At the same time as we were doing that, from a remote distance, Raoul was helping and his crew with events in Rockhampton. Now, another event that Sir helped with was our 1:30 night some weeks ago, but particularly the content of what went into the videos. And I'd certainly, on behalf of Mr. Fulliger and the college, recognise the efforts of Raoul and the AV crew. Gentlemen, we are so proud that we have been around for 130 years. We have an amazing story, and our story is about you and the product that you become because of the partnership we have with your family. And so we acknowledge our proud history. Before our three cheers and school song today, let's watch a projection onto the tower block of Tracy on the 1:30 night. The tower which has Mary at the top. And imagine we're standing in Edmund Rice Mall watching this. Nudgee men, so much to be proud of and so much to celebrate. Let's hear now from Academic First member Jack Fuller lead us in 3 cheers. Jack, let's be upstanding for the college song, please, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. Staff, if all of the doors, please, everywhere can be completely open. Year 10 men, again, thank you in advance for your job of stacking the chairs. Year 10 men. Gentlemen, we are now heading promptly to period 2. Let's move, please.